collecting 543 tons of trash and bulky waste and 9,082 tires, representing a value of over 290.
Coming up next on MCN, the McAllen Cable Network, the Development Corporation of McAllen from McAllen City Hall. The Development Corporation appointed by the City Commission is charged with making recommendations on how to use money that's been raised from the half-cent sales tax that was approved by McAllen voters on May the 3rd, 1997. The recommendation is made to the City Commission. They make the final decision. And now, the Development Corporation of McAllen.
Good afternoon. I'll call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Development Corporation of McAllen. It's July 27th, and it's approximately 12:03 p.m. We'll go ahead and get started with item number 1, approval of the minutes for the special meeting held June the 6th. If you've had a moment to review the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 2 on the agenda is to receive and file the unaudited financial statements for the month ending June 30th, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the month ending June 30th, 2023, the Development Corporation of McAllen had a total of $27 million in assets, $2.5 million in liabilities, and about $24 million of fund balance. Please keep in mind about $20 million of that fund balance has been committed, which leaves about close to $4 million of unrestricted fund balance. I'll take any questions on the balance sheet. Okay. If you turn to the next page, is your statement of revenues and expenditures. As of June 30th, 2023, your year-to-date revenues amounted to about $18.2 million. You had year-to-date expenditures of about $12.1 million, transfers out of about $5.2 million, leaving revenues over expenditures of about $906,000. I will point out that sales tax revenue is on track to meet budget, and as of June 30th, we're about 1% ahead of budget. I'll take any questions regarding revenues and expenditures.
What's the sales tax look in the last couple of months?
Last month we were actually up about 9.4% month over month, so we did quite well. That would be for May's activity.
Okay.
So it's done well. We've had a couple of months where we're slightly down by 1 to 2%. Other than that, we've trended back up, and we're holding for the year to date. We're about 4.3% ahead of last year actuals.
Any other questions?
And last year compared to the year before?
Yes, sir. It's comparing October through June, our fiscal year. So
Right.
it's year over year.
Year over year, we're up 12, you said?
I'm sorry?
We're up 12?
No, last month for the month of June, we're up 9.4%, and for the fiscal year, we're up 4.3%.
4.3 and 1% to budget.
Correct.
We're 1% ahead of budget.
Ahead of
4.3 ahead of in actuals, but 1% ahead of budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Was that your question, Tony?
Actually, my question was, okay, last year compared to the year before, were we up last year?
Oh, okay, I
The
see.
year before, if you recall.
I believe so. Last year was a really good year.
I believe so too. I believe we were up last year compared to the year before, and now we're up again.
Correct. Yeah, in 2022, we were way above 2021.
Exactly.
So we continue to increase. It's hard to tell. Some of it is economic growth. Some of it may be inflation. And so that's where we see some of this flatlining in March and April, where we had slight decreases, maybe associated to the inflation.
Well, inflation definitely
Yeah.
plays a role here.
Well, inflation coming down, so as prices came down, we may have the same amount purchased.
Actually, prices are continue to stay up. And I don't see it, the inflation is
Yeah, you don't have.
still high. So things cost more and they're paying more in sales tax dollars because they cost more.
Yes, sir.
So that's why we're up 4%, whatever, and keeping up with growth, because there's growth all over the county.
Yeah. We have noticed that our online sales, so the state comptroller publishes marketplace sales. We noticed that there's been a 12% increase in marketplace sales, so there is a lot of activity happening online as well that we're benefiting from.
That's true.
What is other income on the revenues?
Other income, let's see.
For the month ending, well, I'm looking at for the month ending June 30th, revenues and expenses audited. Page 2 of 6.
Yes, that is the portion we received for assignment for debt related to the parking garage. If you turn to page 3 of 6, it'll detail out the other income, and it's the second to the last line on the page.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay. Staff recommends approval of the report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 3, just deliberation, consideration for funding of outside agencies.
Yeah, Mr. President, members of the directors of the board, you heard presentations last meeting, and as part of the budget process, we go through each one of them and we make a recommendation to the city commission. So the two big things today is this, and then the approval of the budget. So you can go down one at a time.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's go down each one of them. Start from the very first one. We can hear what the recommendation was from the committee, and then we can give ours, and then we'll go to the next one.
So the first application is Comfort House. Last year, they requested $115,000. They have the same amount requested this fiscal year, and the committee did fully fund that request. And I guess I should also note that the committee did use last year's allocation in order to make these recommendations. So we don't adjust our budget. That would come on behalf of the board and city commission. So we just take the budget as it was available last year.
Okay. So 115,000 is what was requested and awarded last year, and committee's also recommending that amount. Do we want to stay at that level? Any thoughts? Okay. Let's just jot down 115 on that one. Okay, the next one, Vida.
Just VIDA provides a great service. They did reduce it only because, again, we stayed intact with our overall budget. It was not because of anything that the agency does or doesn't do. It was just in accordance of making the numbers at work. So they requested, they were awarded $500,000 last year. They have $100,000 in increase of request to $600,000 this fiscal year, and the committee recommended $300,000.
Was it fully funded?
No, they did not,
How much was?
on,
Did they take?
for this
How much
fiscal
was
year,
funded last year on their award?
last year was $500,000.
And we're going to fully fund that?
The committee is recommending $300,000.
Right, but I'm asking on the award we gave them previously.
For last
Have they
year.
utilized it?
Oh, yes,
Okay, that's all.
all agencies usually liquidate their full
We
amount.
haven't had anybody that hasn't, okay.
So the 500,000 would help with 120 students? Obviously, the 300,000 would be far fewer.
There would be a shortfall, yes.
Okay. Any thoughts?
Well, we gave them 500 last year, so I'm kind of trying to figure out why we would be going down. It's a significant decrease from last year.
So really, the only, again, there was a balance that they needed to maintain. And you will see that they have a couple of other entities for which they increased funding. Specifically, if you look at the next line item, South Texas College, like that increased $70,000 according to their recommendation. So it was just within the categories, or I'm sorry, within the applicants in which they awarded the additional funding.
So South Texas College, they're recommending 170 increase? And
They're actually recommending a $70,000 increase from
70,000?
330 to 400,000. They did request 500,000.
Okay, so 70 is going to South Texas College, and then 100 is going to MEDC?
About 600,000, yes, that is correct. From 950 to 1.1 million.
Okay, I'm losing you.
Okay, so that's 150,000, right? Well, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm trying to get their rationales.
Basically-
they're giving more to these other agencies and reducing from VITA, it seems like.
Correct, that's what they
The
did.
committee works with a certain size of pie, so taking away from one, giving to one a little more has to take away from someone, right?
That is correct, yes.
So they're working within kind of a fixed pie dollar amount. We don't have to do that,
Okay,
I'd say, is there,
right? We don't have to do that. We don't have to.
No.
Yeah,
so
so
that's something that they took
they
upon
maintain that
themselves.
limitation to kind of keep control of, I guess, a conservative way of looking at it.
Sure.
I cannot participate in this one.
well, that one,
That one line item.
yeah. I know they're trying to work within budget constraints, but is there a reason why they left
They want 600.
Comfort House and Lift Fund and the Milagro Clinic? They left those. Well, I'm sorry. I guess Milagro Clinic and Comfort House. Those are the only two that weren't adjusted.
Right, because they did not request an adjustment from their previous fiscal year. So they essentially remained stagnant across the board.
Well, but Lift Fund didn't request an increase, and they were cut 90 some odd thousand.
So the reason that they reduced or felt that they could reduce Lift Fund is that when they made the presentation, staff said that even if we didn't fully fund the project, they would still have monies available to provide the interest loans.
Okay.
Fatal.
That's hard to believe, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially right now with the interest rates going up, with the interest rate going
It's
up.
going to cost them more.
No, I'm sorry, but that logic is not there. Okay, well, that's a political type of, look at it, perspective. But that people go to the Lift Fund and financial institutions go to the Lift Fund for funding local businesses, they do. They do. And they've maintained an office here for, well, I don't know, 20 years to 30 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Was there
And,
anything negative in your analysis on
No,
that fund?
not on any of
Other
the
than
agencies.
just- okay.
No, we haven't found that they have misappropriated funds or that it has been, that anything negative has come from their programming.
So, and I guess just to be clear, the the award amount last year, total amount was $2,834,000, and so the
The committee-
parameters were to stay within that budget.
That is
amount.
correct, yes.
So, if we were to just fund everybody at the levels they had last year, that would meet the criteria that y'all were trying to be within.
That's
and
correct.
everybody would just be status quo. Or
and why don't we doing
can add
that?
more.
or we could add more.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, the question here is, do we want to give them their request, fund less or fund more to VITA? I think we also have to be careful of diving into, well, if we want to meet their request who are we going to take it away from? I don't think we should think of it that way.
No, and I don't think, I'm back into it. I can't say anything, but one is a request and one is the recommendation
Yes.
of the previous board. I mean, that
Yes.
previous meeting that we had.
Yes.
And here we have McAllen Economic Development that has a request of 1.1. They're granting 1.1, but they were at 950 last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I will say
After bringing them down.
McAllen Economic Development Corp. is extremely conservative in their requests. I believe historically we've underfunded them a little bit, and they always make it work. They stretch every dollar.
Who are you talking
They
about,
don't.
Sebi?
McAllen Economic Development Corp. They don't. I mean, they nail it down to the penny of where those dollars go. I think the residual impact of funding them is significantly greater. But you know,
Yeah,
I'm a strong proponent of McAllen Economic Development.
sure.
I agree with that.
So, back to Vida, can we get some direction on that one? Last year they were at 500. Do we want to keep them at 500?
Do we know what they were the year before that?
They're about 500 or
I
530, I
could
think. Right?
look, yes, give me 1 second.
It's generally hovered around there.
We have
I wonder if it's
I think
spiked.
they were a
in
little less
2022.
the year before, and then they were much higher before that.
Yeah, they've gone down quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah.
My thought would be to keep them at the 500 or meet somewhere in between, because that is a significant drop. And everything on the funding here is going to serve McAllen,
Yes, ma'am.
Yvette, and we haven't had any issues with any of that, administratively, anything like that. So,
They were at 440 last year.
440.
440.
Was
The year
Vida
prior, I'm sorry, the year prior.
Were they the recipients of any ARPA funding coming from the county or any other entity that
No.
shored up this?
No.
Or?
No.
That only went to government entities.
Right, but like the county, I know gave a lot of nonprofits money from ARPA.
That would have been on their financials?
No,
They didn't get
It
it.
would,
No.
they did.
But any benefit people got that year would have been a one-time bullet anyway. So
Yeah.
you know.
right.
You want to stay at
You know,
500?
the Affordable Homes is requesting less, almost 100,000. And so if you go with all the agencies at the same level you did last year, and you go with what their request is, you can make up the MEDC and you're done.
Okay.
Because it came up, so
Yeah.
you can change anything.
That's
you
a
want.
quick way to.
It's not.
Sure. I mean that. So back to Vida. Are we okay with 500 on Vida? Kind of keep it in line with prior year. All right. South Texas College. Last year was 330. Are we looking to keep them at last year's, or increase them? Then we'd have to take away from, who was it again, Roy?
You have to take away from anyone.
You have a calculator over there.
Well, you don't have to take away from anybody, really, like Sam
Okay.
said.
So 330, the committee recommends 400. Would y'all be okay in increasing to 400 or keeping them to 330? This
I
is
think the
for
400
job
is
I think
training.
for 400.
400?
400 is good.
Okay.
I'd be fine with the 500 they've requested. I mean, we're trying to build a workforce here that's
Yep.
going to go out and
Well-
build stuff and buy stuff. And if we're not investing in that, I mean, that's a core business of this group, in my opinion.
I tend to agree. I mean, because it is.
Can't hire
It's booming.
anybody.
Uh-huh. Huh?
Can't hire anybody
No.
that knows, that has experience. I mean, we're having to train internally
Yep.
all the time, and it's a struggle. And I'm sure everybody
It's
else
an
is having
ongoing
the same
struggle for
issues.
everyone, yeah.
So they were at 330. They were recommended 400. Want to go to 450? I mean, I'm not trying to split the difference here, but going straight up to 500 would be 100% of what they're requesting.
Who was this committee, the CD committee?
Community development, it's a separate committee that oversees.
I mean, they went through a due diligence on all of this, right? And they
Yeah.
put in a lot more work than we are sitting here shooting from the hip about should we add, should we
I'm
take.
not shooting from the hip.
No, we're not shooting from the hip.
I do not shoot from the hip.
The only concern I
guess
have
my point
is
is, why go through the committee if we're just gonna be changing?
because it's our responsibility for the Development Corporation. We're the ones that make the decision for the Development
Why have the
Corporation. That is their recommendation.
So why have the committee?
Well, that's
Just to
another
give, that's
discussion
just to
that can
give
be
you more
had.
information. I mean, we don't
That's
have to
another
have the
discussion
committee,
that can be had, Reza, I
but,
think.
like you said, they do
Because we're the
do
ones that
a
are
lot of due
responsible.
diligence.
They do a lot of due diligence.
Right.
So, yeah, so the recommendation does come with some weight,
But-
to your point.
But that's, okay, they do a lot of due diligence also on the other set of asks from the
They review the requests that go to CDBG,
TDBG.
Development Corporation, and the general fund.
So they do a lot of the requests for the CDBG funds.
Right.
Which these are not, okay? These are,
Right.
so,
They're not.
so they have, what, 12 to 14, 15 agencies that they review also. No, they perform a very important thing. In these here, though, for whatever reason, it changed a few years back, that they're helping in review. That was the idea a few years back.
Right.
Okay.
They get about as much as we do, I think, on these agencies.
Yes.
And they get a lot more on their agencies that they
Yes.
overlook. So at any rate,
But I feel comfortable in the process in that they give their input, and then we have our hearing with the agencies, we review the packages that they provide, and then we ask questions, so, I appreciate that, but at the end of the day, this board is the one that recommends that as a part of the Development Corporation, so, but I want to respect that 400,000 or 450. The concern too is, STC has a lot of other sources of income or revenue, and quite frankly, I've never really felt like we got very clear financials, and I know we've asked the question regularly on their presentation. And I believe we asked for them to come back with clarity, and I don't know that we did or didn't, but I think that's been an ongoing,
Is
because
this
we
South
wanted to
Texas
see a
College or-
breakout. We wanted to see a breakout for this program, right? So, but again, I'd be okay with it, with the recommendation of CD committee unless you want to go up,
yeah.
Is it
either
South
4
Texas
or
College that you're
450.
talking about, or what?
yes.
Oh, okay. South
Either,
Texas
either
College.
4 or 450, I think, is appropriate on that. And I think showing them that we're giving them more, especially as it pertains to, their help with companies that we've been recruiting lately, I think would be a great step in the right direction. So either 4 or 450, give me y'all's thoughts on that. I know Trey wants to fully fund at 500, but Sebi, where are you at on this?
Yeah, it's a tough one. We're also giving them money
For the
for
nursing.
specific programs, right, Rory? Outside of this, in the tune of 500,000 separately. But, job skill training is probably one of the most important things.
Definitely.
And this program relies 100% on these kinds of sponsorships or.
Yeah.
Might be towards the
Yeah,
upper
this-
tier, at least 450.
This is the one that, yeah, this is the
450 to
450 is fine to 500.
Okay.
That's fine. This is the program that they have at the Trade Center, right? At the military highway, right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, and that goes directly for training to all the industries that are there. Because it helps, as a whole, it helps a lot of industries that, and we use it as a marketing tool too,
Yeah.
to try to get more.
Yeah, I think 450 is a good measure to
Okay.
increase, and so,
450.
all right. MEDC, as we touched on already,
Okay.
950 before, 1.1 would be fully funding, and that's what community development is recommending. They're a big help. They
That's
were a
fine.
big help this past week as we recruited another company, and so.
This went with, because at one point, I think during COVID, we removed travel.
Correct.
So this is including it.
Right.
So they
This,
can
this,
continue with
this,
that. Okay.
yeah, restores their line item for travel.
Back to 1.1?
I'll go to 1.1.
Okay.
Agree.
Yeah,
I
they
know
should
you're-
be, yeah,
you're
it should
good
be a
on
full request.
Okay, great, 1.1, and so affordable homes in South Texas,
They reduced their request. They were behind in constructing some of the homes, and this gives them the opportunity to catch up. And that's really what they presented. So they just wanted the opportunity
Let's give them the
to.
request.
They know exactly how they use it, so.
Yep.
got it. 147, everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right, then lift fund, this is the one they almost cut by 50%. There was some discussion about increasing that.
200. I think we should fund that request.
200? What do y'all think?
200.
We're okay with 200? Debbie?
A
Gotta
little bit
think about
torn.
that.
They brought them down for a reason. At some point, is Lift Fund going to be just, I mean, it's kind of a perpetual assistance. We're paying the interest on loans that people actually get, right? But they're repaying the loans to Lift Fund. There's detail on their McAllen businesses only.
Only.
Only, right?
Correct. And as you all said earlier, I mean, they fulfill a very special niche.
Yeah.
These companies are not bankable. And so this is the way they can expand their business.
Did we ever get a local board member? I know we've asked about that. It's still,
No.
we don't have anybody representing.
I don't think that's that big a deal.
It's not
to
that
be
big a
real.
deal, but it's something we
I
asked
know you
for.
have asked, but
But
they
I
have
think
an
that-
office here.
I know, but it's
and
just one, you have to wonder why they don't do it.
We should get you on the board.
No, I'm not a banker anymore. 70.
No, okay. I think it's managed.
Anyway.
So what number are we thinking about on this?
Oh, you really? I'm serious. It's a compliment.
Thank you. It's very nice of you.
Anybody? What number are we thinking on this one? On Lift Fund?
What, Lift Fund?
Yeah.
I don't know the reasoning to decrease it by half.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think that's way too much, too.
We
I
could get,
think the committee was just trying to hit a number.
Yeah. That's right.
And that's what dictated a lot of this, and so.
how did we come up with 101, 736?
It was a
They're
difference.
very, very good.
They pulled out the calculator.
A lot of
Okay.
analysis.
What is it?
I'm in favor of doing the two, especially
200.
with the higher interest rates folks are going through.
I think I heard Elvis say 200 as well. I think.
Tony.
Okay.
Committee did this for a reason.
Unified.
Yeah, let's keep that one at 200 then, from what I'm hearing. The next one, Boys and Girls Club of McAllen.
Is it-
Looks like we awarded them 330. Last year they're asking 389, which is an increase of almost 60,000.
And the admin costs are in line with our,
Yes, ma'am.
What percentage is that? Like 15 or 20%?
25,
It,
isn't it?
it is 25%.
25. Admin.
25.
Oh, ours is
20.
Okay.
Is it 20? I guess let me ask that. It's 20? DCM.
Oh, got it.
25,
Okay.
yes.
I'm fine with Boys and Girls Club request,
389.
funding it, yep.
Okay. We have enough money, Roy? Are we okay with the money?
I'd stay at 330, but you know me.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, we have them.
Okay. What are we thinking about next year's increases in sales tax? Are we okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, we always are very conservative. 2% is what we're
Okay.
projecting.
Hopefully it doesn't come down. To the impending possible
So far,
slowdown.
we've added like 350, is that right?
you
What was
get a
that?
revision, we'll get a revised.
So far, we've added like 350, is that right?
Stop.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So the last one here is El
Yes.
Milagro Clinic. Looks to be recommended the same amount as last year, 280 to 280.
Sounds easy enough.
This is service in McAllen, right? The 1750.
Yes, ma'am.
At the location.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're okay with 280?
Yeah.
280?
Okay.
You wanna go down the list again and just make sure we got the right numbers?
Sure, who has
So
that?
this is what we recorded. Comfort House, 115. Vida, 500. South Texas College, 450. MEDC, 1.1. Affordable Homes, 147, 625. Lyft, 200. Boys and Girls Club, 389, 639. And El Milagro, 280.
Very good. All right. We got our recommendations in.
I'd go ahead and vote on that.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve those
So moved.
recommendations.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in
And
favor?
I need to abstain, right?
From one.
You're
From what?
abstaining just from the recommendation on Viva.
Okay.
Okay.
I abstain from that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette, for all your work on that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Item 4, public hearing, consideration of possible action of the 2023-2024 Development Corporation budget.
So, Mr. President, as the item states, I need you to open a public hearing.
Okay, we'll call this part of the meeting as a public hearing.
So, one of the things that we did in the budget, and the city commission's gonna start going through budget next Tuesday, is we added very little capital projects this year. One is for the sake of being conservative, and two is that we've got a lot of projects to do. And so we felt like we needed a year to catch up, and that would help us maybe increase fund balances. And we did the same thing in Development Corporation. In fact, we've only added 3 items that I'll go through here in a minute. But I'll go through the fund balance summary first. So we're looking at a beginning fund balance of about $19.5 million. Revenues out of sales tax at $22 million. Revenue from Insight, 1.5. And remember, what we do is we receive revenue from Insight, 3/4 of it goes to the general fund, and 1/4 of it comes to the Development Corporation. And then you've got the appropriations right below it in general sectors, agencies, business district, street and drainage, recreation, and other. And then you've got the detail on the transfers. Transfer to the general fund, that $200,000 is actually an after-school program. Then to sales tax debt fund, to McAllen Express, which we fund every year. Transfer to local government for debt service fund, and then transfer to the marketing fund. Those are all of the sectors of funding. You want to pass that sheet out, or did you already? Thank you. So the 3 items that we're recommending, and we can go through any of these projects. We've got the staff here. All of the departments that are requesting funding from the Development Corp are here. But the 3 new ones are line item number 20. All 3 are kind of emergency repairs, and they're major repairs. Number 20 is the AC, the HVAC system at Lark. It's $331,000 estimate. Then line item number 31 is Palmview Community Center, same thing, HVAC system. And then repairs to Quinta Mazatlan existing building of $228,000. The rest are existing projects that we have in the Development Corporation. And I can go through them very quickly. I'm sure you went through your budget. But the first one is all of the 380s that we have approved through the Development Corporation and the City Commission. That's a big number, but it's a lot of good projects. Additionally, you've got affordable homes, the after school that we talked about. Air service incentives, that is not a committed number. That's a plug number that we came to the City Commission and the Development Corporation a couple years ago and suggested that we have that in case we need it. It's already there. It doesn't impact your budget. Our guess is we probably won't hit $3.5 million in any given year, but we do have one coming up here soon, probably the next meeting for air service. Anzalduas Cargo, that's for the completion of the port of entry. Benson Road is a project that we're designing. Bowie, as you know, we have been going through a phased approach on that project for many years. And this is the next phase that you just approved at the last meeting.
Roy, can I interrupt you?
Yes, sir.
Anzalduas Cargo Design, that 1.5 million, that is for design.
Yes, actually, that's for construction management.
Oh, construction management. The project is funded through other sources.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not coming back here for construction funding.
That is correct.
Okay. And then on Benson Road, that is also for design?
That is correct.
But the construction funding on that is being funded
Elsewhere.
elsewhere as well? Okay.
Anzalduas Cargo design is done, right?
Yeah, the design is done. That number represents construction management.
Now, obviously, historical, but hadn't Development Corp done a $4 million plug that's eventually to get repaid,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that
So
is
that's just
correct.
being tracked, and at some point.
Yeah,
some
we're
funding-
tracking it at the bridge board.
That's right.
And we can track it here. What we told the Development Corporation that it probably wouldn't be until about 2025,
Okay,
because that's when truck traffic will start.
that's right.
And so, but we're tracking it on the other side.
Okay,
And this contract on Salduas is being held by the bridge board, by the Ansalduas Bridge Board.
That's correct.
They're the ones that procured it. And who's doing that work?
It is D. Wilson Construction,
D. Wilson's the contractor and the construction management?
SMB Infrastructure.
No longer SMB, but,
Correct.
okay.
Danny and Philip.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
is this daffodil the remaining or the full?
Daffodil.
The 6.066?
Yeah, that's the whole amount. And so.
How far into that are we?
We are, where's the engineer here?
So we'll probably, this will probably come off
We're
next
rolling
year.
over all unexpended money.
That's what I mean, 6 million is unexpended?
Yeah. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be.
Probably all go out this year then.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll finish. When do you expect to finish that, Eduardo? October of 23.
So there's not $6 million left to do.
Yes, because that was like a $9 million.
That was the original amount. Right.
Right, so what we do is what was the total amount of the project? So this is the whole project.
That's what I meant, that's the whole
Probably
project.
75% of that has been.
So we're gonna spend most of it this year. We'll amend it and reduce it. So what we do is, let's say, I thought the number was bigger, but let's say the total project was $7 million. So what that would tell me here is that we projected that we would spend $1 million this year and $6 million next
Yeah.
year. But in the end, it's gonna wash. The
Yeah.
total's not gonna change.
Okay.
Yeah, we had estimated we were only gonna spend $600,000 this year. It'll be a lot more than that. Okay, Dove, 41st to Benson. Then Downtown Refresh, that's something that we're doing every year. Very successful program. Golf course, expansion of Champion Lakes parking lot, something that's ongoing. El Milagro Clinic, you just talked about. Industrial Park, that means that's a small number. That's a project that we're working on. Demolition, also a plug number we use every year, and we're spending it every year on demo work that we lead. That's the next one's the AC unit I talked about. Lease agreement at Hackberry. We've been doing that for many years. We actually pay the rent for Congresswoman, and before that, the Congressman. Lift fund, management fee, that's a bargain. To the general fund.
That's what they say.
Matching commercial grant program, that's a program we've had for many years. Same thing for the neighborhood. MEDC. Man, how did we know they were gonna do that? Man, we're good. Okay, McAllen Heritage Center, 41-7. Expansion, design, that's something you approved last year, and they're still working on it. Miscellaneous, that's meeting costs, meals, things like that, travel. McAllen is what we fund that program every year, 150. 31 is a new project. Potential investment, that's another plug in case we do something between meetings, and we're allowed to do a budget reclassification as long as we get the approval from the Development Corp. Priority corridor, again, that's something that is an ongoing project. Professional services, those are the consultants in Austin and Washington. Project Imagine Tomorrow. Quince Avenue, North 27th drainage, ongoing. Quinta repairs. Buxton is the vendor that we use for retail. STC, we will match the number that you did today. STC nursing, that's something that you approved last year, and that's $500,000 a year for 4 years. Storage is what we pay the foreign trade zone. Tres Lagos is a reimbursement committed as part of the TERS. UTRGV, we budget $1 million a year, and then Vida.
So on that the medical school deal, I thought we were running close to the end of our commitment, or if not
Those are
at the
10
end.
years.
Right, I think this
But I
is
think we've already
probably,
I think we hit the time period that we were.
no,
Or-
I think this is gonna be either year 8 or year 9.
Close.
Okay.
Roy, did we fund
yeah,
already the
we were
press
right
box? Didn't we have, that's already done?
Yes, that's this current year.
They have
But
to
it's,
bring back
did they finish it?
why they want it.
No, it's under construction,
So give credit check.
they're getting close.
Yeah.
Our end is paid out 100? Okay. It's still under construction, but we've paid our $1 million. Is it $1 million or 1.5? Any questions?
So if there was gonna be any changes to this, or any additions to this, how would that,
To the budget?
yeah,
I have to come back to the development court.
so, okay.
The 200,000 to general fund is what?
I'm sorry?
The transfer of 200,000 to the general fund is what? On transfers out.
This one right here?
That's for the after school. The 200, that's for the after school.
And then the 130?
That's, it's still after school.
Additional also?
Yes.
It's the after-school program. So it goes to the general fund because we have a bigger pot of money and pay it out of there. You see it on line 94 of your packet in here? In here, Sebi?
Yeah, I'll bring that one. I'll look at it right now.
Oh, okay. Parks and Rec. It's our after-school program versus Boys and Girls.
Versus the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
So we
Once
transfer
we
it out
have
from
it-
here to
So there's
general
two
fund.
we have
programs.
it large and
One we pay for,
Calm.
which is the 200, and then 330 goes to the Boys Club
Yeah.
for their after-school program.
All right. Any other comments, questions?
We recommend approval. You'll have to ask if there's any comments from the public.
All right, is there any comments from the public? Public comment?
They all want more money.
Okay, no public comment.
So the motion here would be to approve it subject to the changes that were recommended?
That's correct.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, there doesn't seem to be any other further business for us. So then, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Appreciate it.
I don't need to go through that. I just want to make sure people here for or against understand we elected you to make these decisions. This community has been divided before on many issues in the past. I've been there. I've seen us go through them, and we will come together for the betterment of this city, for the region. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that